Dawn breaks over an airfield in England, 1943. The mist clings to the runway as ground crews prepare massive four-engine bombers for another mission deep into the heart of Nazi Germany. These are Boeing B-17 flying fortresses, technological marvels of their time, bristling with 13 machine guns and capable of carrying tons of bombs across hundreds of miles. To the Allied command, they represent hope, the belief that strategic bombing could cripple the Nazi war machine and bring the Third Reich to its knees. But to the young men climbing aboard these aircraft, they represent something else entirely, a journey to hell and back, if they're lucky enough to return at all. The Boeing B-17 Flying Fortress was the backbone of America's daylight bombing campaign over Europe. These massive aircraft were designed to fly in tight formation, their overlapping fields of fire creating a protective box of machine guns against enemy fighters. The theory was simple: fly high, fly together, and punch through German defenses through sheer firepower and determination. The reality would prove far more brutal. Inside each flying fortress, 10 young men prepared for missions that would test every limit of human endurance. The average age of these airmen was below 25 years old. Their mortality rate was staggering, about 20%, 50 times greater than European infantry, and 10 times greater than Pacific infantry. Yet they climbed aboard mission after mission, knowing the odds. Let's meet the crew. The pilot and co-pilot, responsible for keeping this 20-ton machine in the air while under constant attack. The navigator, plotting courses through deadly flak fields. The bombardier, whose steady hands would determine whether the mission succeeded or failed. The radio operator, maintaining contact with the outside world. And the gunners, the tail gunner defending the rear. The top turret gunner, exposed above the fuselage. The waist gunner standing at open windows. And perhaps most terrifyingly, the ball turret gunner, suspended beneath the aircraft in a cramped, claustrophobic sphere of aluminum and steel. It's 6:30 in the morning, October 14th, 1943. Mission: Schweinfurt, Regensburg, deep in the heart of Germany. The target ball-bearing factory is crucial to the Nazi war effort. The distance, over 500 miles each way. The challenge: flying without fighter escort for most of the journey. Staff Sergeant Tommy Mitchell adjusts his oxygen mask as his B-17, Memphis Belle, lifts off from Thurley Airfield. The aircraft shudders and climbs, joining a formation of over 300 bombers heading east toward the rising sun. The temperature inside the aircraft is already dropping. At 18,000 feet, their cruising altitude, it will plummet to minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit. The B-17 was not pressurized. Above 10,000 feet, the crew had to wear oxygen masks constantly. One veteran recalled how a crew member who lost oxygen flow to his mask would simply fall asleep, and if no one helped him, he would be dead within 5 minutes. They wore electric flying suits to combat the brutal cold, but these suits frequently malfunctioned. Frostbite was common. Gunners had to wear thick gloves because touching metal with bare hands would cause the skin to peel off instantly. The most dangerous part of any mission often came before they even reached enemy territory, getting into formation. Dozens of planes had to take off one after another at intervals of only 30 seconds. While one bomber sat at the end of the runway, another was already starting behind it. The coordination required was immense. During training alone, as many as 2,800 airmen were lost in formation accidents. But now they're airborne, engines synchronized, flying in tight formation across the English Channel. The cramped interior of the B-17 offers no comfort. The crew members, wearing bulky flight suits, oxygen masks, flak vests, helmets, and parachutes, can barely move. The cockpit is small and narrow with a low ceiling. To move between positions, crew members often have to crawl through the aircraft. As they cross into German airspace, the first black puffs of flak appear outside the windows. The Germans have positioned their deadly 88mm flak cannons around every important target. These guns are devastatingly accurate, capable of firing shells to altitudes of up to 30,000 feet, well within the B-17's operating range. The shells are designed to explode at predetermined altitudes, scattering deadly shrapnel in wide radius. The aircraft simply disintegrates in a ball of flame and metal. No parachutes emerge. 10 men gone in an instant. Then come the fighters. German Messerschmitt Bf-109 and Foch Wolf 190 aircraft, alerted by radar stations, scramble to intercept the incoming bomber formations. They attack in coordinated waves, using head-on attacks to target the bomber's cockpit and engines, then swinging around for rear and side attacks to exploit blind spots. In the ball turret beneath, Memphis Belle, Sergeant Joe Williams is completely isolated from the rest of the crew. The cramped, claustrophobic turret makes him a prime target, and his parachute is stored in the main fuselage because there's no room in the turret. If the hydraulics are damaged, he has no way to escape. The turret door can only align with the crew compartment in two specific positions. Many ball turret gunners died trapped in their positions, unable to escape their burning aircraft. The waist gunners have perhaps the most terrifying job of all. They stand at open windows on either side of the aircraft, operating twin 50 caliber machine guns. The windows are open to allow a wide field of fire, which means the cold is brutal. They have minimal protection from enemy fire, and in the event of a crash landing, they're often crushed to death. Memphis Belle takes multiple hits. The number 3 engine is smoking badly. Holes pepper the fuselage. The hydraulic system is damaged. In the tail gun position, Sergeant Mike Rodriguez feels warm liquid running down his leg, blood from shrapnel wounds. At this altitude, blood literally freezes as it comes out of wounds, sometimes actually saving soldiers from bleeding to death. The pilot has to make an impossible decision: continue to the target or turn back. Turning back means the mission is a failure, but continuing means almost certain death. They've already lost escort fighters. The P-47 Thunderbolts that accompanied them this far don't have the range to go all the way to Germany and back. They press on. Over Schweinfurt, the bombardier takes control of the aircraft through his Norden bomb site. For these crucial moments, the B-17 must fly straight and level, an easy target for flak gunners below. The bombs fall away and the aircraft lurches upward, suddenly lighter by several tons. The journey home is even more harrowing. German fighters harass the formation relentlessly. Damaged bombers fall behind, becoming easy prey. Some crews make the agonizing decision to bail out over enemy territory. Others try to nurse their wounded aircraft back to England, flying on 2 engines when the B-17 wasn't designed to fly on less than 4. Memphis Belle makes it back to Thurley, but barely. The aircraft is riddled with holes, 1 engine is dead, and 3 crew members are wounded. They're among the lucky ones. Of the 300 bombers that took off that morning, 60 never returned. 600 young men lost in a single day. The psychological toll of these missions was enormous. Crews knew that statistically, they were unlikely to survive their required 25 missions. They watched friends disappear, aircraft explode, and parachutes fail to open. Yet they kept flying. They kept climbing into these aluminum fortresses, knowing each mission might be their last. The courage displayed by these young men was extraordinary. They flew not just against enemy fighters and flak, but against mathematics itself, against odds that said they wouldn't survive. They flew in aircraft that were marvels of engineering, but also flying coffins where every position held its own unique terrors. The strategic bombing campaign over Europe was brutal and costly, but it played a crucial role in weakening Nazi Germany's ability to wage war. The young men who flew these missions, many of them teenagers, paid an enormous price. They flew through hell and back, and many never made it back at all. Their legacy lives on in the history of aerial warfare and in the memory of what ordinary people can achieve when faced with extraordinary circumstances. They were not professional warriors but citizens who answered their country's call, climbed into flying fortresses, and soared into the most dangerous skies in human history. In the end, they didn't just drop bombs on Nazi Germany, they dropped their fears, their doubts, and sometimes their lives in the service of freedom. And in doing so, they changed the course of history itself.